Good afternoon, everybody. It's really good to see everyone. I'm State Representative Al Riley, and I represent the 38th Legislative District. Let me tell you something about the 38th District. As you know, every 10 years we redistrict. And the district currently, which will change January of 2013, but currently the district's boundaries are Western Avenue on the east, 142nd Street on the north, the Will County line, basically Steger Road on the south, and Harlem. It sort of varies. It meanders between Harlem and Oak Park Avenue on the west. Now, what we're doing right now is running for the new district, which the boundaries are essentially Kedzie on the east, 80th Avenue on the west, Steger Road on the south, and 159th Street on the north. That's the new district. There's been a lot of things. You'll hear a lot of things during the campaign. The district is 105,000 people, and because of the growth of Illinois, the new district, all districts have to have 108,000 people in the district. We gained population. Population gain in Matheson and Country Club Hills meant that I had more population than was necessary. And so you throw off population to those districts who need it. Will Davis's district, Thaddeus Jones, we're down in population because the population shifts. And that's why the new district moved from Western Avenue to Kedzie on the east. I'm really glad you're having this forum. One of the things that I want to always emphasize is that these forums are really good because you actually see and can hear what people propose to represent you down in Springfield. Now, one thing that's very important, first of all, you have my literature. My literature is a matter of record. Literature is a matter of record. The bills that I passed, the support that I have, my background and so forth is a matter of record. There's no need for me to talk about it here. You can read it. But I think what's important is to talk about whether the candidate that you elect is going to represent you well down in Springfield. Now, pundits call this particular period of time the silly season. You know why? Because often what you hear are sound bites and platitudes and buzzwords. It's very difficult to answer intractable problems in 2 minutes or 10 minutes. I was really happy. I talked to a homeowners association today in Hazel, Crest, and we talked for an hour. And then you can explain these very complex situations and people can have a chance to have give and take with you. And the best way to find out what's going on with any of your elected officials is to ask them directly. Now, one of the things that I want to point out something. It is a premise called the third question. The third question. And the premise is this. When you ask someone a question about something, the first question can be a platitude or a soundbite. Illinois is broke, or we have to fix the pension system. The second question engages more elaborate answering. Well, sir, what are you going to do about the pension system? Well, we have to be about the business of reducing the pension, or something like that. The third question elicits, or should elicit, a more cogent response. By the time you ask someone the third question, often everybody remember Ralph Cramden on The Honeymooners? You know, they'll go, hamana, 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 hamana. There's nothing to say because there was no substance there in the first place. Springfield's not a plaything. Often it seems like a zero-sum game. And for real, we're 118 independent contractors where your district comes first, but then you also represent the rest of the state. But one thing that we do know, everyone should know the difference between local and state government. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nowhere on your tax bill, you have about 15 taxing bodies on your tax bill, does it say state of Illinois, first of all. You must also ask anyone running for any office, do they really know what that office does, what the responsibilities of that office actually is. That's extremely important. You might also want to ask, because they can be answered real simply, do they understand the Constitution of the state of Illinois and the Constitution of the United States? Because when you take that oath, you are sworn to uphold both of them. Everything we do in Springfield is tape recorded, video recorded, and audio recorded. And therefore, you have multiple lives when you're at the state and indeed at the federal level. Because unlike a local school board, unlike a local village board, where consensus drives everything amongst 6 or 7 or 8 people, in Springfield you have 118 people who many of them are veterans, many of them have PhDs, many of them are attorneys, many of them ran businesses. They are the best and brightest people across the state of Illinois sent there to represent their districts. And what they all should be about, because you need 60 votes to pass anything. You got to get votes on both sides of the ideological aisle. You need 71 when it's a spending bill. How will your representative be able to debate? We debate down there. We don't operate on 10-minute sound bites. You are in committee for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. You're on the floor of the House for 5 and 6 hours. Bills that you try to pass may take a year, year and a half. The great 2008 mass transit bill, which did a lot for this community and put jobs that evidently somebody didn't see, took 3 terms to pass, 6 years. So it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's not easy, and you have to be able to debate to get your point across to your district. And so that's something I want everyone to understand. Because again, in 2 and 3 minutes, people can say anything. The question is, do you have the background? Do you have the ability? Do you have the intelligence? Do you have the demeanor? Do you have the staying power to fight for the district? And that's what this is all about. I am not going to bash the very institution that's been around since 1818 that I represent. And you see a lot of that. You wouldn't go and talk ill about your job, though your job may not be perfect. And I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is continue to fight, and it's a matter of record, for the 5th largest economy in this country. A state that has 36 Fortune 500 companies, who dwarfs the economy of Indiana that everybody likes to talk about all the time. And again, let me finally end with this. A lot of things are said. I want you to call my office, either the campaign or the legislative office, and get the real information about what's going on. I had a hearing, just did a quick analysis. Had a staffer send me the raw numbers. And we looked at non-farm business development in the state of Illinois. The figures are out there. You can go to the census and get them. And plotted them. And it was almost like a straight line. There'd been 1 year and 20, where there was actually a decrease in business starts. So first of all, if your premise is nonsense and bad information, then that's what's going to drive what your public policy is. If it's the truth, then that's going to drive your public policy. So I'm glad to be here today, glad to take questions, and I'm also glad this is being taped.